Just as we were developed for this world in the womb, so too are we being developed for the next world within these bodies. Hermetica 101 by Matthew Barnes. In this book by Matthew Barnes, titled The Hermetica 101, he seeks to simplify this ancient Hermetic work by employing more modern terminology as well as analogies and parables that boast of a greater sense of relevance in our world today. Now, the first thing that stood out to me was a so-called law of correspondence, which, among several New Age teachings, particularly those that deal with Hermeticism, taught, as a dictum of renown, as above, so below. Then there's as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul, and so forth. Now, there are other correspondences that we can apply this concept to, but in this particular conversation, we're going to refer to the as above and so as above, so below. I'm sorry. Now, in this context, the as above would be referring to the first birth, meaning when we were delivered into this current world through the womb. And the as below would manifest itself in figurative rebirths that we effectuate in our lifetime. Pretty much any time that we take on an endeavor that requires our utmost dedication and our utmost resources, we pretty much confine ourselves to a figurative womb. For instance, if we're studying for midterms or finals while going through college, we might miss out on a lot of experiences, especially if we're younger and all our friends are partying and doing all these fun things. We might feel in a sense that we are missing out, but we are simply reclusive within this figurative womb. Now, there's the whole concept of needing to be born again. Various religions and worldviews teach this concept of needing to be reborn or born again. The most common in our world today, which be the adaptation by evangelicals, which is they refer to themselves as born again Christians. And then we can also refer to the whole conversation between Jesus and Nicodemus. The first time that we are born, at least in our lifetime, we had no control. We simply were born. However, in a greater context, in various worldviews, even in Mexica and other indigenous worldviews, it is said that we chose to be born to under certain conditions, to certain parents, which was going to help us further our evolution as eternal souls. However, when we're born as babies, we have little control over our life. And so these figurative wombs can be applied to being reborn as graduates, professionals, husbands, fathers. Everything requires a process. And whether we believe in the afterlife or not, whether we believe that we are forming in this body the ideal spirit that's going to be able to ascend, whether we believe that we can go to heaven, hell, Nirvana, Mictlan, whatever afterlife we subscribe to, we can also apply it to any endeavor that we take on in life, knowing that now that we are being able to be born again, we are the ones who regulate the conditions that shall permit this rebirth. Now, the womb, once we originally come into this world, is given the correspondence of our body, as above, so below, meaning that the conditions in our body should be up to par with our spiritual development. Well, with or without Mr. Barnes' translation of the Corpus Hermeticum, we have a similar teaching handed down from our Mexican ancestors, that, of course, of Huitzilopochtli, which is what I have been speaking about extensively. The womb that Mr. Barnes compares to the body is represented in this concept by Coatlicue, Huitzilopochtli's mother, our primal matter, our physical body, composite of the same elements of the earth. And consequently, Huitzilopochtli, on the other hand, represents the final product, which is a spirit that will one day move on to other afterlife endeavors and ventures through ascension. Now, whether or not we believe in the afterlife, like I said before, the analogies of the womb with the body and the Mexica teaching of Coatlicue also represents the various cocoons or eggs, of course, that we are incubated in while we develop into whatever we aspire. And I also think of the complex structure of a cell. The The cell is composite of a nucleus. Now, what's interesting to note is that the nucleus is composite of protons, which are positively charged, as well as neutrons, which are neutral. And surrounding the nucleus itself is the negatively charged electrons, meaning that whatever circumstances that are surrounding us when we are reclusive in this womb, in the end we should abide by our nucleus, our core. In the case of Huitzilopochtli's story, in the nucleus, which was the womb of Coatlicue, there was a positively charged proton, which was Huitzilopochtli. Since the sun, element of fire, anything ascribed a masculine quality is normally typically assigned a positive charge. So Coatlicue did the unspeakable by murdering her husband. However, in her womb was developed a warrior. So regardless of the negativity of Coatlicue's actions, she isolated herself from the world that she knew in order to devote herself to the temple and be gifted by divinity the privilege of being Huitzilopochtli's mother. We're going to develop this topic a bit further, but like I said, the cocoon, the womb, the egg is symbolic. The first time we were not able to help having been born, but these endeavors that we take on in life are totally up to us to take on. And as such, we need to make sure that the current body that we're in serves the development of the spirit that is to come, whether we believe in the afterlife or whether we apply it to becoming a better person whilst in this life. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Y'all have a good